To my channel. My name is Linda Camara and you are on Crime Stories with Linda. So today we are going to talk about the case of Theresa Knorr. So she was a mother that was so wicked and evil to her children, and she was so paranoid that led to the deaths of two of her children. So she tortured her children so much because she was jealous of them. She felt they were growing very beautifully, and very soon that they will be more beautiful than her and she will lose her beauty. So she tortured two of her children, and which led to to their deaths. So let's just dive into this case. Please, if today is your first time of coming across this channel, my name is Linda Camara. Please just subscribe to this channel. This channel has only 13 subscribers, and it's really not good. I've been churning out videos almost every week for the past 7 weeks now. This is like my 8th long form video, and I need views. I need subscribers. Please just subscribe, please. Thank you very much. It's not going to take you long. Just click on that subscribe button. Thank you so much. So we are talking about the case of Theresa Knorr. She was a mother that maltreated her children and led to the death of some of her children. So let's just dive into this case. So Theresa Knorr was born on 12th March 1946. So she was born into a family that was like a middle class family household as at that time, because her mom and her dad were both working. Around in the 40s, women were not really known for like working. Most women were like housewives. So but her mom, she was up and doing. She was like, she was working, and she earning and her dad earning made made them not to lack anything. So they were living okay. They were okay as at that time. So as they were growing, they were having a very normal childhood. But around 19 in the 50s, the dad was diagnosed of Parkinson's disease. So his body was shaking and he could no longer walk. So this made him very much it made him like abusive, like verbally abusive to his family. So their mom, Swanny Gay, was the only one working and bringing in money into the household. So their dad was basically staying at home, but he was like very abusive to the children, like verbally. So Theresa, she was the youngest of two children, two daughters. They have two children, and their dad had like two children before he got married to the mom. So the household, they were like six, and they were living okay, except when that their dad developed that sickness, so he stopped working, and their mom was like the person that was really keeping the family together financially. So this led to a lot of problem in the family. You know how it usually is when a woman is like the person bringing in the money, more of the money. And in that time, it was just like, how but it was not as people were not as like progressive thinking as they are now. But women like bringing in money, the being the sole providers of their family then was not very common. So this really affected their family. This really brought like a lot of like abusive dynamics into the family. So but the mom, she didn't mind. She continued working. Then in 1961, in 1961 she collapsed and died of congestive heart failure. So when her mom died, this really affected Theresa, because she was like the youngest, and she's like the mommy's baby of the house, and the thing was very devastating for her. It affected her so much emotionally. She was just spiraling and emotionally, and she didn't know what to do. Just like her father, she became abusive verbally. she was just like saying different things, doing a lot. And as this thing happened, being that their mom was like the sole provider of their family, they lost their house, they lost a lot of things. She's losing her mom, she's losing her house. So the thing was just so devastating emotionally for her. And she stopped school. She stopped school at that age of 16. She was 15 when her mom died, but by age 16 she stopped school, she stopped doing anything, and she like started looking for love in all the wrong places. So being like that, she was just like going out, like trying to like get a boyfriend or look for love in places that are like possibly dangerous for her. Then she met her husband. She met someone that she got married to, Clifford Sanders. So Clifford Sanders was a US Navy veteran at that time. So he was 21 years old. So when she met him, they both like fell in love. It was like a whirlwind romance, and the both of them just got married like 3 months after meeting each other, and they started a family. They were like so much in love, and like how lovey-dovey the way it is when you're just starting. So but gradually Theresa became more abusive. She Clifford that he's cheating on her, that she in fact she was very possessive and very abusive. She would say different things to Clifford, and Clifford was like getting tired of this. Each time Clifford would say, I will leave this marriage, but Theresa will like dare him that he won't leave, and Clifford will say he will leave, and then he will not leave. They continued being like that, and they gave birth to Theresa took in and gave birth to her first child, Howard. So when she gave birth to Howard, she like still continued being the way she was. And one time like that, Theresa went into the police station to report that Robert abused that Clifford abused her, that Clifford was beating her. So she reported him, and when the police wanted to like take action and go and arrest Clifford, she said that she's pulling out, that she doesn't want to press charges, that they should just leave her husband, that she doesn't want to press charges. So that was that. And this thing continued. She was just like abused. Anytime Clifford goes out, Theresa would be like, you have gone to meet your girlfriends, you have gone to meet those girls that you usually meet. In fact, she was paranoid. So this thing continued, and one day in July of 1964, so Clifford said that this is it, that I'm no longer interested. This was like a day after his birthday. He went out with his friends on his birthday, and went and spent the whole night, celebrated with his friends. So when he got home, Theresa was very, very angry. Theresa was already waiting for him, and she was just saying all manner of things and very angry with him. You know how it is, and just saying abusive words to him. So Clifford said, "That's it. I'm moving. I'm leaving you." And when Theresa found out that Clifford is actually very serious, that he wants to actually leave her, he has packed his things and he was about leaving and like backing her, she shot him at the back, and the shot rang out, and Clifford collapsed on the floor, and Clifford died instantly. So when he died, they arrested Theresa, and during the trial, Theresa said that it was self-defense, that she was just trying to defend herself, that Clifford was coming at her to beat her, that she had already reported him before, that he is violent. So that Clifford is a very violent man, and that in fact she painted herself as a very battered wife. The court were they were trying to like investigate. Even Clifford's family were saying that Clifford is not abusive, that Clifford did not do anything. That is basically is mostly Theresa that has been abusing Clifford, but nobody listened, and people were listening at the time, sha. But when Theresa Theresa told the court that she was pregnant. So that pregnancy, that she's pregnant, and that pregnancy, in fact, it was as if the pregnancy was the magic that closed the case. So they closed the case because in fact, they released her because she was pregnant. I don't know how the law was as at that 19 in the 60s, but she was released because she was basically pregnant and her husband just died and she was 18 years old at the time of this incident. So she was released and she went on to continue living her life. Then she met another man. This man was like, I would like to say he was paralyzed. So his name is Estelle Thompson. So both of them continued. They started a relationship, but then she she started the same thing that she was doing with Clifford, accusing Estelle that he was the one cheating on her, while she was the one actively cheating on Estelle with his best friend. So cheating on Estelle, she would just leave the house and go on to party for days on end and come home, and when Estelle starts complaining, she will start saying that he's the one cheating. So they were just going back and forth, and Estelle could no longer take it. So Estelle moved out of the house, and Theresa went on to marry Estelle's best friend, Robert Knorr. So he's the one that Theresa took his name, and the whole family took his name. So took that to Knorr. So both of them like got married almost immediately, and they started giving birth to babies. Remember that Theresa already had two children, Howard and Sheila. So when she got married to Robert Knorr, she gave birth to like 3 children. She gave birth to 3 children. Then she later gave birth to the 4th one, making the children 6. She has 6 children. So she gave birth in quick succession. And then she started cheating on Robert too, and the same cycle. She will accuse him and he will accuse her. She's paranoid and she will say different things. And they were together, and basically Robert at the time, Robert became very tired of the whole thing and he left her. So then Theresa met the next one, Pulliam, and this is the one that she said was very violent and possessive. So he accused him of also cheating, and they dated, they were married for some years, and that one also left. Then she got married to the 4th husband, Chester Harris. So Chester Harris is the one that the children remembered to be a very good man. That man was like was more of a father to them than all the other men that Theresa had ever married. But Theresa could not keep that relationship. She was doing her normal, usual cheating and blaming the husband and doing all manner of things. And even she also accused this particular Chester Harris of poisoning her. So but the both of them also divorced, and Chester Harris moved out, and this was the last marriage that Theresa ever had. And then Theresa became a single mother to 6 children. So when she became a single mother to 6 children, she doesn't want to work, she does not have a job, she will stay at home. She became very reclusive, and then she started gaining weight. She started like becoming more like hating her figure, hating herself, and becoming more reclusive. She doesn't go out, she doesn't talk to people. Then she also did the same thing with her children. She doesn't allow the children to have friends. The children does not, she pulled all of them out of school. They all stayed with her. She doesn't allow them to go out. Then she started abusing them. She would beat them so mercilessly. She would beat them with her fists, she would beat them with cords, she would beat them with anything that she can lay her hands on. She beat them mercilessly. Sometimes she will not give them food, sometimes she will give them food. Then the two girls, the two teenagers, Susan and Sheila, she became very jealous. She became very jealous of Susan and Sheila, so she would weaponize food and be giving them so much food so that they will also be as they will gain weight, so that they won't blossom into any kind of beauty, because she is jealous of her children. She's jealous of those two girls as they are growing and blossoming into beautiful girls. She is getting older, so she is feeling that these girls will be finer than her, and very soon they will get married and they will have beautiful families and they will leave her. No, she had like, she was so paranoid, so she started giving them lots of food. Then she stopped and started starving them too. So she was just like all over the place with these her children. So she will beat them. She will force the boys to beat the girls. She will make the boys to beat the girls so that they will be able to gain favor with her, you know. So they were in fact, it was a weird dynamics with her children, that family. So this continued. She was beating them. She was then she like singled out Susan at first. So she said Susan is practicing witchcraft, that Susan is a witch. In fact, that Susan is the one making her gain weight, that Susan is the one making things not work for her, making her not to, like, in fact, she hated Susan, and started bullying her the most out of her children. She would beat her mercilessly. She would, in fact, she would beat her so much. Then after one of those beatings, a day that she beat Susan very mercilessly, Susan just like said she had had enough. She ran out of the house. So when Susan ran out of the house, so, because she has been locking them up inside the house. They don't know anywhere. They don't relate with people. When she ran out of the house, she doesn't know where to go. So she was hanging out on the road, and the police saw her. When the police saw her, at first they felt she was a prostitute, so they picked her up and took her to a psych, because when they asked her questions, she could not answer. She could not like make a complete sentence. So they took her to a psychiatric home. So, and they left her there. So while she was in the psychiatric home, she told one of their staff there that her mom is very abusive to her and her siblings, and that she actually showed them the marks, the scars on her body, proving that she has been abused. But the police could not do anything. They called her mom, and when her mom got there, they asked her questions. Why are you abusing this girl and her siblings? Theresa said no, that she doesn't abuse her children, that Susan is known to lie, and that Susan has mental health issues. That she doesn't beat her. She has never laid hands on her children. That Susan had that they should not mind her. They should not listen to anything that she's saying. And the police also asked her other children, does your mom beat you? Does your mom abuse you? So the children, they were afraid of Theresa. They could not tell the police the truth, of course, because Theresa was there when they were asking them. So they said no, that their mom does not beat them. And the police, after hearing all this, now released Susan to her mom. And then Susan went home with Theresa. So when they go home, immediately they go home, so Theresa beat Susan mercilessly and made the other children to beat her. They beat her to the extent that she almost fainted. Then she tied her up. She handcuffed her to the kitchen table. So And she was there, she was pleading with her mom to release her, to leave her, that she even wants to leave the family, that she wants to move out. But her mom did not listen to her. She just tied her and left her under their table. And you would think that she left her under that table for like 2 days or a day or like the next day or like a week. No, Theresa left her child under that table for 2 years. She was handcuffed to that table for under that table. She will sometimes she will be made, she will, in fact, if she vomits, she will be made to eat her vomit. They give her little or no food. They will bring her out sometimes and beat her. In fact, she stayed there for 2 years under intense torture and hunger and starvation. So Theresa, the more she begs Theresa, the more angry Theresa gets. She does not want to listen to anything Susan is saying. So she left her there. So one day in on 16 July 1984, she brought Susan out that morning, uncuffed her. Then that day, I don't know what happened to her. She is in one of her moods. So she beat all her children, gathered all her children and beat all of them mercilessly, uncuffed Susan from under the table and beat her too. Then gave Terry, their last child, she was 12 at the time, gave her a pistol and told her to point it at Susan, and that if she moves, that she should shoot her. So she went into the other room and she was with the other children, while Terry was pointing the gun at Susan. So I don't know what they were doing in that other room, because they were staying in like a 2-bedroom apartment. So Terry was pointing the gun at Susan, and a spoon dropped in the other room. So Terry was rattled and she fired that shot mistakenly and shot Susan. And Susan collapsed on the floor, and the mom did not even care. She didn't care. She kept doing what she was doing. Her siblings rallied around, gathered, and Susan was begging. In fact, Theresa told them to handcuff her back under the table, and Susan was like under that table begging her mom that she should please take her to the hospital so that they will be able to pull out the bullet. She didn't do that. She left her under that table. So after some days, Susan was the wound had started becoming infected. She was having sepsis and shock. So she pulled her out of that table and put her in the bathtub and left her there. So I think her siblings tried to, like, when she had like fainted and she was having that sepsis, they pulled out that the bullet that was in the wound, and Susan was just there and begging her mom to just allow her to leave. Then on that day, then one day in that same July, then Theresa said, okay, since you want to leave, she ordered Robert and William to tie Susan up. They tied her up and duct taped her mouth, and Theresa brought out trash bags, packed up Susan's things inside those trash bags, and they took her to a road in Squallow Valley, took her to a road, like a field in that Squallow Valley area, and they dumped her there and like placed her things on the floor and placed her on top of her those her things, and then set her on fire. So they set her on fire. They just entered the car and left with their mom. So like a day after they did that, someone found Susan. Then she had burned. She had burned beyond recognition. So when she was found, the police took her body. They didn't know her. They didn't know who she was. They tried to like find a positive identification for her, like try to identify her, but they couldn't identify her because remember, Theresa does not take her children to hospital. She does not take her children anywhere. They don't have any dental impression in any with any of the dental clinics. So they took her dental impression, tried to compare it with with the one on their database. They could not get a match for her. So what they did was just they preserved some parts of her body that will be able to like that they will be able to test for DNA whenever they want to solve this case. So they disposed of her body and left some of those parts. Then the case was closed. She was classified as a homicide Jane Doe case. So that's how they closed that case. Then Theresa also continued with her life with her children. Then seeing Sheila also blossoming, Theresa started transferring her anger on Sheila. That she started directing her anger on Sheila, and she thought that since she doesn't work and the money that the government is paying her for unemployment is not enough for her, because basically she uses that money to buy drinks and drink the whole day. So she doesn't have much money. The kids doesn't even have food. They don't have anything, and it's not as if she cares. So she said she felt this idea came to her that she should why not turn Sheila turn into prostitution. So she talked to Sheila. Sheila begged her mom so much that she can get a job to work in other places. Why must she turn into a prostitute for her to be able to feed the family? She begged her mom, but her mom, her mom's word, because they have seen her kill one of them, so they were so afraid of her. So anything that she says goes. So she didn't have any say. So she started the prostitution, and she was pulling in money for her mom. And at first, Theresa was so happy. The money was just coming in. She would go out and bring in lots of money and give her mom. And Theresa was happy. Then after some weeks, Theresa said that Sheila had contracted STD, that she has contracted STD and had given it to her, transferred it to her, and maybe that she possibly got it from their toilet seat. That Theresa possibly got the STD from their toilet seat, because she's sharing toilet. That possibly that Sheila has contracted STD and has transferred it to her, and she has contracted it. So she started punishing Sheila. So she got a very tiny, one of the tiny closets in their home. After beating Sheila so much, she tied her. She tied her hands and her legs and pushed her into that closet and locked her there, and told her sister, her brother, her siblings not to give her anything, that even if she's dying or crying or doing anything, that they should not give her food or water. So Sheila stayed there for weeks. She will be begging her mom to release her so that she will leave the family, that she doesn't want to, that she will leave, that they will never see her anymore. But her mom refused. She just left her inside that cupboard. And so she was inside that cupboard for so long. Her siblings sometimes would sneak in food and water for her, but she was there without food. She was not even let out to go and urinate, or she was just inside that cupboard, inside that very tiny cupboard, she's standing for weeks and possibly months. So she was just there, and nobody was opening that cupboard. One of the days that Terry opened the the cupboard, the closet for Sheila, she gave her a beer and told her that maybe she should just confess to whatever thing that their mom said she should confess to. If she said she has given her STI, STD, that she should just confess to it, and maybe she will stop punishing her. So Sheila confessed to their mom and told her mom that that she gave her the STD, and that she should please forgive her and release her. But her mom didn't listen to her. She didn't release her. So Sheila, after some days, she made sure that nobody was going to that closet, and nobody was nearing there to give Sheila anything. So after some days, they were no longer hearing any noise from that closet, and no noise, and no nothing, no sound. So she waited for like 3 more days after Sheila had died, and then she opened the cupboard and found out that Sheila had died, and she and had started decomposing the room. In fact, the place, the house had started smelling of the decomposition of the dead body. So they pulled out the body, and then she took her. She didn't want to dump Sheila close to where she dumped Susan, so that they will not be able to link the case and say, okay, maybe the two cases are linked to each other, and maybe start investigating it that way. She took her to another part of the city. So she took her close to the Tahoe airport, and then dumped her body there. After they built like a cardboard box and placed her body inside, and they dumped and with her belongings, and they dumped her at that Tahoe airport close to the road. And a few hours after they dumped her, Sheila's body was discovered, and just like Susan's body, she there was no dental impression for her. She was not positively ID'd, and they also termed her a Jane Doe case, and that was it. They closed the case for them as at that time. So when they got home, that house was the smell of decomposition was just lingering in that apartment, and Theresa became very paranoid. She felt that the police were onto her, and that very soon that she would be arrested. So she was just so jittery, and she decided to leave that house. So that night they packed up all their things and they left that apartment. And guess what she did afterwards? She sent little Terry that is just like 12 or 13 years as at the time of this Sheila's death. She sent Terry to go and burn down their apartment. So when Terry got there, Terry just poured the fuel on the apartment floor, and lit up, set the place on fire. But because maybe she didn't do it properly, and she did it at the time that people were still awake. A lot of people discovered that the fire that fire was burning in that apartment, and the fire was promptly put out, and everything was preserved. Even that closet that she was trying to burn so that she would destroy the evidence was just preserved. So nothing got burnt, and Theresa was just living her life in some other part of California before she moved. At first, the William left. William left her mom. He just moved on with his life, just moved on, and severed ties with her family. Then Terry, when she got to 16, because I'm not sure she was 16 when she tried to burn down that apartment. So when she was 16, she just stole Sheila's ID, because Sheila was already an adult by the time she was murdered by their mother. So she took her ID, and and claimed that she's and that took it and ran away. She escaped and claimed she's an adult. Then their mom was just remaining with Robert, and Robert was just remaining with with his mom. So he stayed with the mom, and they moved to Vegas, and both of them were staying together. Of course, Theresa was not working. She kept that her behavior of not working. She was just like trying to making Robert to do all the work. Robert was working. Theresa was still complaining that the money was not enough. So Robert went on to try to rob a bar in Vegas. So when he got there, he tried to rob the bar, and the bartender, they started like asking him questions and trying to like prevent him to do what he wants to do, because when he was telling him to give him the money, the bartender was trying to like protect himself and protect their bar, and he was shot. Robert shot and killed the bartender. The bartender like died almost instantly, and Robert, because there was a lot of witnesses there, and Robert was properly arrested, and he was charged. He was charged, and he was charged with second degree murder, and he was given a 16-year sentence. So their mom, being Theresa, she was just always about like self-preservation. She felt that maybe the police will be onto her now, and after they have like sentenced Robert, so she packed her things and ran away, and she ran to Salt Lake City, Utah. So that was where she stayed, and coincidentally, that was also where Terry ran to all those years. That was where Terry was also staying too. But they didn't meet each other. They were just staying almost the same place, and their paths never crossed. So, but all this while that Terry had been in Utah, Terry usually calls the police and try to tell them her story, tell them the story about their mom, how abusive she was, and how she murdered two of her siblings. But the police did not believe her. They felt that it was fiction. They never believed her. Even her therapist didn't believe her. She would tell them the story, and they didn't believe her. And one day in October of 1993, Terry was watching Americans Most Wanted. America's Most Wanted. So the hotline was there, that if there is any crime, or if you see one of the criminals that they were looking for, you can call this hotline. So Terry, being that they have been showing crimes that look like almost the same thing that her mom had done before, she just got that hotline number and called them. And when she called those people, they told her, the detective there told her to just directed her to call California, because the crime that their mom committed happened in Sacramento, California, and she was reporting the crime in Utah. So it was never going to work. So they directed her to call California and she called them, and the police there, they really listened to her. They took her the case serious, and some of the detectives were sent to Utah to go interview her, and they like started investigating, and they were able to like link two Jane Doe cases to her story. And the way she described it, the way she knew almost of the things that only the person that was there when this crime was committed could have known. So they believed her, and they linked everything, and they like asked her for her DNA sample, and she was able to give them, and they tested it with the ones that they have for Susan and Sheila, and it matched. So Robert was already in prison. So when he was called and questioned, at first he said no, that no, he didn't know anything of that sort, that nothing like that happened. But when he was told that he may not be able to face any prison time, or maybe little prison time, because he was forced to do those crimes by his mom, that if he doesn't talk, that maybe he will face much more punishment for those crimes. So he like opened up, and like they also arrested William. And William and Robert, they both collaborated the story of Terry. In fact, it tallied very closely. The stories tallied, they matched. So Theresa was arrested. So she was promptly arrested, and when she was asked those, at first she was denying, but she later, in fact, she pled. At first she was trying to plead not guilty, that she was not guilty of those crimes. But when she was told that she is facing death penalty for those crimes, she promptly agreed and pled guilty, and she was sentenced to 2 life sentences. So as for Robert, they sentenced him to 3 years imprisonment. Then William did not receive any prison time for these crimes. He was just given probation, and he was mandated to was giving he was mandated to like therapy. He was given like mandatory therapy, that he should undergo therapy for this crime, and for the way he was brought up and everything, that he needed like therapy. So that was what happened, and that was it. Till now, to this day, Theresa is still serving out her life sentence. This is the story of Theresa Knorr. So please, if you have any comments, any thoughts and questions, or any corrections, please just make it on just comment on the comment section, and please subscribe. Just subscribe to this channel, and we'll be bringing more of this type of stories your way. Thank you very much for watching, and with that being said, have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Bye.